This is the single most insane thing we have ever done. We have given up our bricks and mortar home in London, and we now have no home.
We risked complete friends and family humiliation in taking on this project. We have spent over £10,000 so far, and we haven't got a lot to show for it at the moment.
We have bought a Mercedes Sprinter that had a suspected blown head gasket, but it's turned out to be much, much more, and the engine is now in the machine shop having a full engine rebuild.
It has taken every ounce of us to get even this far, physically, financially and emotionally. It's been nearly 4 months of sleepless nights and relentless setbacks.
People ask us, why would we do this at this point in our lives? And honestly, we're starting to wonder the same thing.
But here's the thing. This van, as much as it is destroying us, it might just be the thing that saves us. And here is why.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Danny.
We have bought our Mercedes Sprinter W907.
And we'll be converting it into a camper van to go to travel in the UK and Europe. Welcome to the channel.
Hi guys.
And together,
We're the Mayor.
Smiths.
Learning to be difficult. I think from the start it's been, I'm not a mechanic. I'm trying.
How did we end up pulling out an engine with no tools, no experience, and a crane that barely worked?
And did we really think we could finish a van conversion in 5 months? We had a dream, full-time travel, van life, especially with our old dog Marley, freedom. We made sacrifices, left our London flat, gave up our jobs and bought a van to convert into a campervan or RV. Easy, right? Oh, we had no idea what was coming.
Ryan and I had always wanted to travel for work. He's been obsessed with vehicles ever since he was a kid. And I have always wanted to build a life where I could work and travel. So we took the leap. Ryan closed his 14-year joinery business. I left my sales and marketing career in the bustling city of London, and we packed up our lives.
When we gave up our flat in November, little did we know we were going to face so many challenges, conflicts and setbacks that really hit us hard. Have you ever started something thinking it would be simple, only to realise it was one of the biggest challenges in life?
We massively underestimated everything. Sure, we're not scared of hard work, but try working in freezing conditions with missing tools, zero secure workplace, and on top of all that, my disability added extra challenges.
The list of things we had to do was insulation, electrics, mechanics, plumbing, needing the tools for cutting metal, wood, getting the money together for everything, painting, and the list goes on. I have experience in houses, but a van, this is a different ball game. Nothing is level, nothing is straight. It's like trying to fit a round peg in a square hole.
But hey, here is what we do have. Marketing skills, carpentry skills, our wits, grit and determination. Surely we can make it work, right?
What a rough journey it's been. We actually thought we were going to have 5 months to do the conversion on a drive. But things don't always go according to plan. More on this later.
4 months ago, the start of the moving chaos. We decluttered and prepared as much as we could before the move. Turns out, we had way too much stuff. Marley was anxious with all the coming and going. His bed was almost the only thing left in the room. He actually thought we were going to leave him behind.
It took 2 full days from sunrise to midnight, shifting things in and out. We were exhausted. Delirious, Marley was unwell, kept being sick, and we're running on zero sleep. We felt like we had a newborn baby, but instead, it was a mountain of stuff, and we had to get it all in a van to live in. Sounds like van size problems, right? But it's important to still be able to live comfortably and have everything needed to do so. What do you take? What do you throw away? It really was a dilemma.
Then heartbreak hit. The day after we moved, Marley got worse. He was breathing shallow, almost panting all the time. He just stood in the garden without moving or smelling anything. We had Marley since he was a puppy. he was so poorly. He had a heart condition, and we took him to the vet so that they can take a look. We were told he had tumours around his organs, but saying goodbye to our friend just broke us.
Unfortunately, at that time, we decided it was best to have him put down. Really sad times for us. We weren't just dealing with a huge project, we were grieving. Displaced, out of our comfort zone and overwhelmed, it was a tough period.
We were looking for vans we could afford. Everywhere we turned, we just saw another van.
Finally, we found it. A broken down Mercedes Sprinter W907 van with a suspected blown head gasket and bodywork needed. We found it for a reasonable price that met our requirements of being within our budget. A long wheelbase, ULEZ compliant, for a van the mileage still was okay. 147,000 miles, and it was only 6 years old. Despite everything that needed to be done, it was bright yellow, orangey, it stood out for miles, but we were really excited. It was ours. In December, we had our engine nightmares. Now, getting this van roadworthy, we rang every mechanic we could find. Nobody wanted the job. Too big, too complicated, too much hassle. Although we did find options, but they were way out of our budget or too far away.
So what did we do? Rolled up our sleeves and we decided to start taking the engine out ourselves. With no proper mechanical tools, no workshop or garage, we had to do it all on a driveway.
With only the help of YouTube videos, our community, and one Mercedes expert advice, thank you to him, a few extra manual tools we brought here and there, we started to disconnect things to get the engine out. What a difficult task that was. Definitely took us a lot longer than we expected. Definitely a lot longer than it would have taken a mechanic with or without a garage.
Every day was a new battle. Limited daylight, as it was winter in England, so we only had 7 hours of daylight. Freezing cold, constant setbacks, it tested our patience, our relationship and our sanity. Arguments? Plenty. Doubts every single day. It was hard and it took a toll on our physical and mental health. We were also worried about the family we had in London, so we had to also take time to ensure we'd travel to see them often.
The whole project was very chaotic. Trying to put aside our fears and doubts, we felt like we were overcoming challenges on a daily basis. We started to build the engine crane to take the engine out ourselves. That had the most useless wheels ever. Seriously, why do you even sell them with these wheels? And of course, we forgot to tighten some bolts, making it even harder for ourselves. Classic.
Just before 2024 ended, we decided to get some work done towards making this van our new tiny home. So first things first, the van was very filthy and it had so many dents. We had plastic trims missing on the outside, the sliding door didn't run properly, so we had to do a lot of cleaning as well as find a way to get all the dents out, get the side door working properly, and sand the many scratches it had.
As we had to pay for the van conversion in small amounts at a time, we managed to get a few bits to actually start the conversion. Once we cleaned inside, we had to deal with the stuff inside the van.
We had condensation issues, which meant everything was getting wet. It was a pressing matter to get this sorted. We made a start with the insulation. This would actually help the condensation problem, but it was all new to us and it was a slow process. We started with the sound deadening on the walls, the ceiling and the arches. Not a lot, but it was a start.
After this, we had to go back to working on the engine because our priority was to get the van on the road. We moved the van forward in order to try and get some solid ground for the crane to lift the engine out, disconnecting multiple things. With a great struggle, tried to move the engine so we could get to the back and disconnect some more things. The crane was struggling with the load of the engine. The crane wheels were rubbish, but we also realised it was partly our fault. we'd forgotten to tighten some of the bolts, didn't we? So the crane struggled more. Well, we struggled more really. The engine crane was just less helpful. We paused this and got on with more important things.
So planning the van interior, Ryan measured and we took pen and paper to make a rough sketch. It was fun to actually have a rough vision of our new home, where the bed would go, the shower, the kitchen, the cupboards. Very exciting.
We also started doing research about practical things like having access to the front of the van without needing to come out the van to go back in front. And we had a spreadsheet with stages of the whole project to break everything into chunks.
And with this new vision of our home, we could actually see it. So we continued with the insulation. We bought all the materials, so we thought, and started the process. The first layer of sound deadening finished, then the recycled plastic material with the glue, and then guess what? We ran out of materials again. Typical. So we had to order some more and wait. You can see the quantities and all the materials in the description below.
Okay, where were we? Let's get back to the engine work. New year, new us, new van. At the beginning of 2025, with a lot of help, sweat, tears, the engine was finally out. We had to use a car to help us pull it out. A lot of shuffling it about. It took 3 and sometimes 4 people to get the engine out, but we finally got it out and onto the driveway.
And with the engine on the side of the road in icy conditions, we began. Fun, not really. Every morning we had to battle with our minds. There were tears, we struggled to unscrew things, we struggled to film everything so we could remember how to put everything back together. So fingers crossed that we haven't got any spare parts when the engine goes back in.
After getting the engine out and on the driveway floor, we realised there was a lot of oil all over the engine. It was covered all over the bell housing of the gearbox. There was oil in the water. Once we stripped the engine, with the help of our viewers and a lot of research, we bought spare parts from Mercedes. We thought we had found the problem and a solution, but no. We got to Mercedes and realised it wasn't the oil leak issue we thought.
We decided to send the engine to a machine shop just to be safe, because let's be honest, we didn't have a clue what we were looking at and thought let's leave it to the experts so they could clean it, test it and change any internal parts that it needed.
This cost us a pretty penny, but at least we'll have what's like a brand new engine and a van that hopefully won't break down in the middle of Europe, right? Have you ever taken an engine out of a car or van yourself?
And whilst the engine comes back from the machine shop, we're determined to get things moving. We've got all the windows and the pots delivered, so we got to work.
We cut holes in all the van's panels, ready for the windows. Very intense work, may I add. Sanded the areas, using adhesive. The one thing we will recommend, based on our mistake, is that you need to make a bead of Sikaflex rather than squirting it around like we did, because ultimately we want to avoid leaks. Then we secured the windows and the pods. All the materials used are in the description for you.
Oh, and we had a huge last minute curveball. We had 2 weeks of pure stress and had to evaluate things, but we'll tell you all about it in a minute.
Despite all the hurdles, we're still very passionate about this adventure. We were very grateful to the community here on YouTube and other platforms, to our family and everyone that's helped us in one way or another. Now it was time to plan the trip, so we had a rough idea of all the exciting places to visit.
So we decided to take London or thereabouts as a starting point and head north of England and all the way to Scotland, seeing exciting places like the Isle of Skye, Loch Ness, Loch Lomond and the Trossards. I think that's how you pronounce it. Sorry, Scottish people again. Then head to Ireland and visit places like the Giant's Causeway, Belfast and Cliffs of Moher. We will then decide how much we can explore in the UK before heading into Europe.
Beginning of February came and things where we were staying in Norfolk didn't work out. Suddenly, we needed a new parking spot and somewhere to stay while finishing the van. It was a shock, and the stress was real. The sleepless nights continued. Extra expenses, everything up in the air.
But we made it work. We found a way. We found solid flat ground to park the van and temporary accommodation for us to stay. We're staying with family in London, and we also use Trusted Sitters, an app that lets you use house seat in exchange for free accommodation. If you love pets like we do and want a free place to stay, check it out. The link is in the description. We actually found this app through someone that recommended it on social media. In the UK, it is mainly to look after pets, but in places in Europe, it's actually required mostly to house sit instead.
Let's be honest, it hasn't been all bad. We have so far found a way to make things work, breaking each task down